A new era for the Sooners.
And Big 12 championship dreams for the Cowboys.
Both powerhouses ready to kick off the college football season.
We're excited for the challenge as competitors, as a football program. Oklahoma, isn't intimidated.
OU ready to tackle some of college football's toughest teams. OSU ready to win it all.
We talk about it all the time, like all the guys on the team, that we want the natty, we want the Big 12, the natty, like we want it all.
Two conferences with new rivalries.
OU will make a lot of really good new rivalries.
I think some of these new teams that are going to come in are going to learn very fast that Boone Pickens Stadium is rowdy, it's crazy.
Fans in Norman and Stillwater chomping at the bit for the college season kickoff.
Here comes Phillip.
Oklahoma's a football state.
We're still in the heat of August, but football fans in our state are ready for the season to start, and they won't have to wait much longer. Welcome to KFOR's College Football Kickoff Show. I'm Brian Brinkley, and I'll be joined shortly by Dylan Buckingham and Holden Cruzmark and several of our news reporters. Over the next hour, we've got a lot of football to talk about. It's a new era in the sport in 2024. The college football playoff has been expanded to 12 teams. OSU is in a Big 12 with 16 teams, and OU is not even in the Big 12 anymore. They begin play in the Southeastern Conference this season. We'll profile several players from our state, flash back to a memorable game in our state's history, and check out some things fans can look forward to this season. Plus, we'll sit down one-on-one with an Oklahoma and football legend. For now, let's talk about what to expect from our Bedlam teams this season, and we'll begin with Holden Cruzmark and the Sooners.
It's year one in the SEC, and the Sooners have a few more questions than they'd like to have as they try to navigate the first year in this tough conference. OU had offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby leave for the head coaching job at Mississippi State and also parted ways with defensive coordinator Ted Roof. Enter Seth Luttrell and Zach Alley, who Brent Venables and the players say haven't been hard to adapt to.
He hasn't had to try to, figure things out. He speaks the same language from the first day. And just building on, what we've been able to foundationally build, over the last 2 years. This is not a completely new world for Zach, and it's not a completely new world for the staff, and it's not for the players either. So I think that's helped, with the transition.
And I think we've done everything we need to do this offseason. I think we had an amazing spring. I think with Coach Alley coming in here, really starting to experience it, really simplifying some things and having that new insight come in, it gives us all the tools that we need.
Different schools call it different things, but really switching that terminology. Like for instance, Branson, when he came in, SMU calls different things, but at the end of the day, everyone plays essentially the same game of football.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's a big learning curve for Coach Luttrell, but obviously he's a different person than Lebby, different personality. Maybe calls some things different than Lebby, focuses more on certain things than Lebby would. So I wouldn't say it's a learning curve, but just kind of getting to know Coach Luttrell and seeing what he likes and how he likes to call a game has been big for me this fall camp.
The Sooners sure seem confident they won't miss a beat this season. In fact, they're confident they can even take a step forward. How are the Cowboys feeling this fall, Dylan?
Thank you, Holden. Honestly, about as confident as a team can be heading into a season. For OSU, the Cowboys returned the most experienced offensive line in college football history and the second most starters from last season in college football. So it's safe to say their expectations are pretty high in this new-look Big 12.
Yeah, we have a difficult non-conference schedule, and so experience is going to help us in this area. It allows us to move forward a little quicker than what we've been able to over the last few years, which is necessary because we're going to need to back off a little earlier in order to get ready to play in the first game. So I'm comfortable with that. Well, whether we're the face of the league or that, I don't know. My goal is to put a product out there that the fans can come and enjoy their Saturday and tailgate. And so, you know what? We might win this game.
Very excited to see what we all can do this year. It's a big year, and we all got many experience around every level on O-line, running back, quarterback, receiver. So we definitely got some big things coming this way. I'm excited for, not just me, but the team. We have a collective goal in mind, and that's to win a Big 12 championship and to get in the playoff race and compete for a national championship. So that's what we've been harping on all winter, all summer, all spring. So, I'm excited. We put the work in. Now it's just time to go play ball.
Xavier Ross using some big words right there. Mike Gundy isn't kidding, though. We already know how tough the Big 12 is. The non-conference opener for OSU is South Dakota State, not your prototypical FCS school. The Jackrabbits have won 2 straight FCS national titles and lost 1 game in the last 2 seasons. Brian?
course, OU and OSU are leaving behind their Bedlam rivalry, but fans are anticipating some new enemies this season.
Everybody wants to beat Oklahoma.
I think we'll probably pack it out almost every game.
Which teams will be circled on the calendar and what matchups could become storied rivalries? It's next. Will OSU be Big 12 champs? Will OU make a name for themselves in the SEC? Both teams are looking to make an impact in this new era. But what schools have the Sooners and Cowboys marked on their calendar? And which matchups will lead to storied rivalries in the years to come? As News 4's Tanner DeLeon reports, some answers may surprise you.
The Big 12 and the SEC getting a shakeup within the conference. Both OU and Texas leaving the Big 12, prompting OSU to be the powerhouse in the conference. But who could stand in their way?
Like Kansas State or Iowa State or Kansas.
A mixture between Utah and Colorado.
The Big 12 welcomes 4 new teams this year after adding Houston, UCF, Cincinnati, and BYU last year, making it a bit unpredictable for who will come out on top this football season.
You got teams coming in like Utah and Arizona, Colorado with Deion Sanders. Like, there's a lot to deal with OSU, and man, it could be really anybody to 5 or 6 teams in the Big 12s.
And there is already bad blood boiling between OSU and the newcomers.
And then for Utah, because of the recent kind of animosity between each other's fan bases on social media.
Boone Pickens Stadium, one of the most electric atmospheres in the country, will be happy to welcome a new rival.
I think some of these new teams that are going to come in are going to learn very fast that Boone Pickens Stadium is rowdy, it's crazy.
Building a rivalry takes time, which is why some fans believe every Big 12 matchup will have the atmosphere of a Bedlam game.
There's not that one big game that's a Bedlam that everybody gets up for and everybody fights for. But I think because of the parity within the Big 12 and the amount of support that we have right now going, I think we'll probably pack it out almost every game.
OU, of course, facing a long list of potential new enemies.
OU will make a lot of really good new rivalries, probably with, to be honest, most of the people they'll play, because I think OU's that kind of team, you know, that everybody wants to beat. Everybody wants to beat Oklahoma.
Some may already have a past with OU. Others look to start something new.
I think another obvious one would be Missouri. Makes sense, you know, geographic-wise. They have that Big 8 history. One that I would say that I don't think anyone else is saying, Tennessee. I think Tennessee would be an awesome rivalry.
Why is that?
The 2016 game, that Baker Mayfield Classic.
And the rivalry options for the Sooners don't stop there.
And that great rivalry that they had with Arkansas, that's right off the bat. And you talk about the border right there and going back and forth. And let's not forget the Aggies of A&M. There's a new, renewed rivalry with that coming from the old Big 12 days, and they've definitely had some battles with them.
Both teams will certainly face new tests, but OU and OSU fans will miss the old traditions like Bedlam.
That'll be disappointing to lose.
To be honest, I'm going to miss that.
But there is plenty to look forward to as we approach this much-anticipated college football season.
What I'm looking forward to most, all the entertaining games, dude. I mean, every weekend you got a dog coming in.
We have, you know, just a lot of things going for us, but let's go prove it. Got to go prove it this year.
Looking forward to seeing what this college football season brings. Tanner DeLeon, Oklahoma's News 4.
OU's first SEC matchup is another highly anticipated one against Tennessee, coached by former OU quarterback Josh Heupel on September 21st. When we get back, the long and winding road of a Sooner quarterback who's bringing his family's OU legacy full circle in 2024. It's next. Welcome back. We've seen some very interesting transfers in this new era of college football. There was one that stuck out the most this past offseason as Casey Thompson transferred to OU after playing at both Texas and Nebraska earlier in his college career. Dylan Buckingham has more on the final chapter of Casey's college career.
The Thompson name is one synonymous with football in our state. From Norman to Moore to Newcastle, we've seen the Thompson family flourish on the gridiron, especially Casey, who's hoping to finish his career in the most Thompson way possible. Casey Thompson has started games at some of the most prestigious college football programs the sport has to offer in Texas and Nebraska. But there was always something about the OU DNA his family possesses.
You always just wonder when you drive by the stadium. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, but just driving by the stadium, and I used to sit outside and I used to be like, man, I wonder what it's like inside that facility, that Switzer Center. It was my idea to pick up the phone and call the coaching staff. It was my idea. I remember telling my dad, if I get this extra year of eligibility for the NCAA, like I'm going to go to OU for my last year, I'm going to call Coach VV.
Thompson hopped in the portal, made the call, and weeks later, he was a Sooner.
I've known the family for a long time, and like every decision I make, I try to find great people that have a belief system and a value system that aligns, and Casey's just phenomenal.
A decision set in motion after Thompson tore his ACL at Florida Atlantic last season. But when he returns to action, he knows the stars are going to have to align for him to see significant playing time.
I'm here to, provide any help that I can. There's no guarantees because, there's a lot of factors that have to, come into play, and everything would have to add up, for me to hit a home run. Obviously, I want to play. I want to contribute to the team, and I want to be ready to play. If I'm not the starter, I'll be one play away and just ready to go as a backup.
He epitomizes what you want from a work ethic and a commitment standpoint to his craft and his teammates. He's got wonderful leadership traits that, he's going to immediately be able to bring some things that maybe that group of guys as a young group doesn't already have.
While he works to get back, his focus isn't just on football.
I want to grow off the field, as a man and in my relationships, my relationship with Christ. It's exciting for me to be back here around my church with my family, and just being able to go to church with the teammates and some of the coaches. That's a big deal to me.
But it's also a big deal to finish the legacy started by his father years ago.
I've had a lot of dreams, just me being in Memorial Stadium and taking snaps, and that would be a very meaningful experience for me and my family. But just being able to finish and have senior day here in this stadium would be a big deal. Being able to have my jersey someday, and I can put it in my dad's house, with my brother's jersey and my dad. That'll all be obviously very meaningful for our family.
Brian, I mentioned his ACL injury from last season. Thompson was limited this past spring, although he did admit he started throwing and running sooner than he thought he would. That means he's a full go for fall camp as he looks to win the backup quarterback job.
From Norman to Stillwater, college football is king, and fans for both teams say tradition reigns supreme. The spirited icons that help keep everyone cheering on their Sooners and Cowboys is next. Welcome back. In Oklahoma college football, there are icons and events that span decades and become traditions, from Eskimo Joe's cheese fries in Stillwater to lighting up Lindsay Street in Norman. News 4's Dylan Brown has a taste of your fan favorites.
Whether you're an Oklahoma State University fan or a fan of the Sooners, you've got a wide array of option when it comes to fan favorites.
Go Pokes!
For Oklahoma State, one big fan favorite, the mascot Pistol Pete.
I thought I would go try out the first year and end up getting selected that first year, and the rest is history.
Matt Rawls was the man behind the mask in the 90s. Pete, based on the legendary Frank Eaton, a real-life cowboy and an emblem of OSU. That giant head, the mustache, the guns, firing up fans for generations.
The grit, the determination, the passion, and the dedication, I think that fans are drawn to that.
Another fan favorite here at OSU, the good old Eskimo Joes. Let's go inside and we'll try some of those cheese fries.
I like to think it's a boy and his dog.
Owner Stan Clark now one favorite seen on a shirt with the other.
We love to put Pete and Joe together in designs, and they've been wildly popular.
Why do you guys like Eskimo Joes? What's good about it?
Cheese fries.
Are you an OU fan?
Yes.
Yes. But
I will come to Eskimo Joe's every time I'm in Stillwater.
Are you guys OSU fans?
Nope, OU all the way.
For Sooner fans in Norman, a fan favorite, the Roughnecks and Roughneck Little Sis. Two ponies, Boomer Sooner, with the group leading the charge. They've been around for over 100 years. In fact, it started in 1915, said to be a woman shouting at some spirited OU fans, "Sit down, you Roughnecks." Now the group spreads spirit to fans.
Football's like a family thing, and all of us here are just family.
That spirit seen in fans and families. And with the Southeastern Conference, that spirit seen in generations to come. Would you want to go to OU when you're older?
Yes.
You want to play for OU?
Yes.
We would always come out. We'd come and support the games and have a good time together. But yeah, the more you can bring family and get future Sooners involved, it's a great day.
Boomer Sooner.
Dylan Brown, Oklahoma's News 4.
Those are just some of Oklahoma's college football favorites. You can find a much longer list of memorable favorites at KFOR.com. When we get back, we'll profile a pair of OSU standouts who went to the same high school and are in very different situations in their college careers going into 2024. Stay with us. Welcome back. Over the years, both the Cowboys and the Sooners have enjoyed their share of homegrown football stars. Holden Kruzmark joins us with more on how a pair of former Edmond Santa Fe teammates are hoping to lead OSU to glory this fall.
Wolves turned Cowboys. Colin Oliver and Talon Shetron are no strangers to success on the football field, but they've also had some heartbreaking defeats. They say it's those shortcomings that are driving them this season as they try to get the Cowboys their first Big 12 title since 2011. From Edmond to Stillwater, Colin Oliver and Talon Shetron have played on some big stages. The duo star on its way to the Class 6A state championship game in 2020.
That team was special, man.
To this day, I say that it's the best Santa Fe team ever.
Then as a freshman at OSU, Oliver sacked OU quarterback Caleb Williams to win Bedlam and send the Cowboys to the Big 12 championship game. Then Shetron joined back up with his old teammate, and last season the two got to experience heading to yet another title game. But for all that success, they've yet to come away with a win in those big games, something that drives them heading into this season.
It definitely leaves a bad taste in your mouth, especially when you get beaten the two fashions we got beat. Makes you want to go for more. It makes you want to, go back to those games as well. So a good motivating factor for sure.
When it's all said and done, Oliver has a chance to be one of the best defensive players in OSU history. After 3 years in the orange and black, Oliver is top 10 in quarterback hurries, sacks, and tackles for loss.
Yeah, Colin is a pure Cowboy. He loves Oklahoma State. He's been tremendous for us. You can count on him. You can trust him. Things get going tough. He won't flinch. He can lead the locker room when coaches can't. Those guys are valuable.
He's always in a great attitude. He's great with his teammates. So it's cool being around him, man. I feel like once you get to know him, bro, I don't think there's anybody in the world that wouldn't like him.
Oliver has already had a remarkable career and now just wants to finish it off by collecting a ring.
It'll mean a lot for a lot of us, and just the fact that we're going there again, it'll mean a lot for our team.
While Oliver experienced great success early winning Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year, it's been a tougher climb for his former Edmond Santa Fe teammate. Shetron was a dominant force in high school, but struggled to get on the field last year while battling an injury.
Getting hurt, just having to watch the whole rest of the season, it was very frustrating, but I just used it as like a learning experience. High school, I didn't really get hurt at all. I didn't really have to deal with any adversity, but since here, I feel like all I've dealt with is adversity, so I think it's just all part of the story.
Now Shetron says he's fully healthy and more confident entering this season. His teammates believe it won't be long before he's making an impact for the Cowboys.
He's shown that, them injuries can't bring him down. Some people may take injuries as, my body ain't the same. Talent just keeps pushing every time.
Talent is developing, and he's going to continue to develop into a real good football player. There's not a doubt in my mind that, this year might be his breakout year.
4 years after leading the Wolves to the state championship, Shetron and Oliver hope to finally break through and win a title.
We're due for one at this point, We've been there, we've lost, we've learned from those experiences, and hopefully this year we can do it.
Both Oliver and Shetron said it's like having a brother on the team. Of course, Talon does have an actual brother on the team. His brother Tabry is one of the tight ends. Oliver says it's something in the water at Santa Fe that produces good Cowboy football players. Brian?
From football to another game day staple, game day fashion.
We're always trying to come up with new designs.
Taller boots, a lot more bling, fluffier dresses.
I'll turn it over to the experts, including our own Natalie Clydesdale, for the latest trends coming up next. Welcome back to KFOR's College Football Kickoff. It's become as big a tradition as the Sooner Schooner and Pistol Pete. And what you wear to the game has become a hot topic among OU and OSU fans. I'm turning this next segment over to News 4's Natalie Clydesdale for the latest trends in game day fashion.
Whether you're heading up to Stillwater for a tailgate, cheering on the Sooners down in Norman, or catching a game somewhere in between, we've got you covered.
Two things are top of mind for Oklahomans this time of year: football.
Oklahoma's a football state.
And fashion.
What is your favorite part of game day?
Definitely getting to pick out the outfit and the boots that go with it.
I see people in big old cowboy hats about this big, this tall. And it's so fun to watch everybody in their outfits and everything.
When it comes to game day, many fans always make sure they're sporting their Saturday best.
I love playing cowgirl for a day. Just everything super extra.
It's got to be orange and black. That's it. It doesn't matter what it is. It's got to be orange and black.
You get to coordinate, and it's so much fun.
We talked with experts all over the state to find out what's in style this season. Let's start with the basics.
If you don't have a white dress, you need to get one. That's a staple here. Denim is a really big one.
You can also pair this with like red boots, little buttons. So I think that this is just a great piece to have in your closet.
This year, animal print has made its return.
Leopard, cheetah, yes, it's coming back.
Graphic tees are also trendy right now.
We're excited about these for this season. And then, of course, just some basic unisex retro looking tees.
Starts off with just a blank shirt and just adds the layers.
At Chris's University Spirit in Stillwater, they're printing hundreds every day.
We're always trying to come up with new designs.
For the men, polos are timeless.
You're going to see thousands of people wearing polos. It's simple, but it's very stylish, I'd say.
And of course, every outfit is all about the accessories.
Being outlandish and stand out and everything, it's really, really fun. Especially like these. I love these so much.
You can also spice up your look with hats, bows, boots, and arguably the most popular item, buttons.
The buttons are always a good little way to put your own spin on the outfits.
The amount of volume that we sell in jewelry is insane. And then buttons, yeah. Tons of buttons.
OU moving to the SEC just means the glitzier, the better.
Taller boots, a lot more bling, fluffier dresses.
Blingy stuff. This year I have more than ever glittery stuff coming in, and I think there's a lot of excitement around there for women to dress up a little bit more.
Bigger and more fun, so it'll be more fun to dress. It's just more colors, more fun.
Natalie Clydesdale, Oklahoma's News 4.
We have links to all of the stores who gave us their tips and helped us out with this story on our website at KFOR.com. When we get back, a former OSU star who's back in Stillwater in a position that's become an essential one in this new era of college football. Stay with us, it's next. Welcome back to the college football kickoff. The transfer portal, NIL, and all the other things associated with them have changed the face of college football, and it's created the need for a new face on the staff of all these teams. Dylan Buckingham has more on who that is for Oklahoma State.
The pageantry of college football hasn't changed. The entire makeup of the sport has. Teams are having to adapt in numerous ways as the business of college football has taken over. OSU is calling on one of their own to usher in this new era 25 years after he once donned America's brightest orange. With each passing day, college football is becoming the NFL.
If we sit back and watch, we're going to get run over. And it's the same thing with us at Oklahoma State University. If we're not being innovative and doing research and trying to find out what's out there, how to handle this side of it, we're going to get left behind. Because it's just not a matter of revenue sharing, taking revenue and spreading it out. That's not the way it works. It's a much bigger picture.
Enter former Cowboys linebacker Kenyatta Wright, who works with Mike Gundy daily and was recently hired as OSU football's Director of Business and Finance.
I'm an entrepreneur. I've obviously had different business entities. Coach knew that. He kind of seen what I've done in that side of the world, and obviously being on side of the NFLPA and collective bargaining, all of those type of things. I've had a hand in it.
He'll develop a staff. They'll handle all the financial side of this with the players, communication with agents, runners, representatives, PR people, salaries.
A lot of the projecting of the future for our roster, a lot of those things that before didn't really have a business side of it, and branding, sponsorships, marketing, all of those things, and kind of look at the business of football. So that's what I'll be doing on a day-to-day basis.
Wright, who played 5 years in the NFL, feels like his fit for the first of its kind job couldn't be better.
It was really key that was someone that played at Oklahoma State and been through it, kind of in a different era, but obviously been through the same things that they're going through today that can add some things that they want to achieve, and then kind of let them know that here's the process.
We're getting in that phase where we're basically going to be employees, essentially, and we're going to be getting paid money to play football and stuff like this. So we need to look at things differently, and he's one of the guys who tells us those things, and he really emphasizes it well, and he knows how to talk to us because he's been a player before.
He's a guy. He's been around. He's been through every level that we want to be at. I feel like he plays a huge part in our lives also. And like I said, they want us to be great grown men. They don't want us to be just great football players.
Part of his unique position includes roster retention, and Wright wasted no time implementing a brand of its own to help with that.
Cowboys for life, obviously, Coach has this thing that he wants every player, past, present, and future, to know that you're a lifetime Cowboy. Whenever hard times are out there, you know that there's people here for you. We want to let them know that this family is a lot stronger than just your playing career.
As the business of college football evolves, Wright plans for OSU to evolve right along with it on a number of fronts to put the Pokes in a position for success on and off the field.
I think it's going to better prepare our guys for whatever field they're in, because we know that football is not going to last forever. I'm not going to give you everything that we're doing because we want to be unique, because it takes a unique type of football player to come to Oklahoma State. Now, we have some things that we can that are greater than every other university out there, but we'll save that to in-house recruiting.
Brian, this isn't just something Oklahoma State has done. Former OU linebacker Curtis Lofton was hired as the Sooners general manager earlier this year as well. He'll have a similar job to what Wright will at Oklahoma State, a stark contrast from what football was just a few years ago.
A change has come. It's as much a part of the college football season as touchdowns and fight songs.
It's Boomer Sooner, horns down.
Go Pokes! And fans always bring their A game on game day. How tailgating will be stepping up a notch this season. Next. Welcome back. As college football kicks off, many people are dusting off their tailgates. For Sooner fans, entering into the SEC means opening up to more fans and more excitement. And Cowboy fans are just as eager for their new challenges ahead. News 4's Dylan Brown with what we can expect for this year's tailgating season.
Boomer Sooner! Whether you're piling up outside of Oklahoma Memorial Stadium or you're up in Stillwater outside of Boone Pickens Stadium, the 24 hours leading up to game time, that's when tailgating becomes an art form.
The Southeastern Conference changes what it looks like inside OU games and outside. Tailgating getting a whole lot bigger on campus.
Whereas maybe before there were more restricted areas, this is basically you can tailgate everywhere except for these few restricted areas.
Since OU entered the SEC, tailgating options have really opened up. One new location, Duck Pond. Another spot opening up, Boyd Lawn. Another new tailgating opportunity up and down Asp Avenue. They're even opening up the lawn in front of Oklahoma Memorial Union for this.
This new map shows the new spots in red. Claiming your spots is determined by times and open to all, so you better get there early.
The food, the atmosphere, the fun, the entertainment, just all of the vibes, everything that comes from it, it's amazing.
OU tailgating opening up for families and students.
I love it, my club is probably going to be out here tailgating as well.
Go Pokes! Now to Stillwater. OSU tailgating. It stretches across the streets outside Boone Pickens Stadium.
Here at Boone Pickens Stadium, the parking lot right outside, that's reservation only. Hold on. We're not talking about parking. Let's talk about tailgating. Basically, any green space outside of Boone Pickens Stadium, that could be used for the public. It's first come, first serve.
You have noon the day before the game to reserve your spot. This school map for this year, spots in green, open to all. A lot of the action, though, found on Knobloch Street. Restaurants packed, streets lined with fans.
So we have a huge celebration inside and outside.
Tailgating's gonna happen right out here. What do you think of that?
I'm pretty excited. I live just down the street.
The excitement seen whether it's your first time or 50th time.
Have you been tailgating here before?
Yeah, absolutely. People set up tents everywhere. All the parking lots are full. It's a really good feeling. The stadium, you can just feel it. You can feel the energy the whole time you're here walking around.
Whether a Cowboy or a Sooner, you'll probably be surrounded with cheers of
Boomer Sooner!
Go Pokes!
Dylan Brown, Oklahoma's News 4.
Dylan got to work out there, and maybe your thing is the fare inside the stadium. Let's over to Holden Cruzmark for more on that.
Well, everyone loves a good meal before any big game, whether that be at the tailgate with family and friends or inside the stadium. News 4's Austin Brissett went to both Stillwater and Norman for a look at pricing, some yearly favorite foods, and what's new this season in stadium concession cuisine.
The Pokes are sure to have Boone Pickens Stadium rocking this fall, but fans will need some fuel to cheer on America's brightest orange.
We try to make it as much like it is here as, out there. And chopped brisket and pulled pork at the stadium It's so easy, you can't mess it up.
Smokin' Joe's co-owner Ethan Stedman says their sandwiches are served for around $15, and cheddar hot links could soon be on the menu too. But if barbecue isn't your go-to, just visit the famous Curdy Shack.
Every one of the hot dogs is named after a college student.
Right now, there's 12 of them, like the Dirty Curdy, Dirty Coyote, or Dirty Julia. Each one has different toppings too. The only constant, cream cheese. Each hot dog is about $7, and owner Sarah Eslinger says your name could be behind one of them too.
I get really excited about it, and they're like, well, how do we get on the menu? I'm like, well, you just have to bug me until I say yes.
And what better to wash it all down with than Iron Monk's Brew 1890?
It became our #1 selling beer.
An $11.50 blonde ale named for the year the university was founded. Multiple cans commemorate OSU's homecoming, wrestling, baseball, tennis, and more. They also plan to have a new 125th year of football at OSU can too.
We've really expanded our lineup.
To top it off, Senior Associate Athletic Director of Facilities Kyle Waters says if you want to skip the lines, they're putting in new multi-item grab-and-go stations in BPS this year as well.
Hopefully it'll speed up their process where they're not missing much of the game.
Fans will be sitting in these seats watching a new beginning for OU football this fall. But as for the food inside the stadium, it starts with what one vendor calls a fan favorite.
So when we polled everybody, the fan favorite was the Diner Double.
Simple, but savory. Boomerang Diner serves burgers, corn dogs, and tater tots at Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. Local to Oklahoma with over 50 restaurants statewide, they're now expecting a 10 to 15% bump in fan traffic with the SEC move.
What we try to do is we try to serve burgers and smiles. That's a big thing for us.
Another classic that's sure to make fans smile, a Fletcher's Corny Dog.
To get to bring him to Oklahoma has been such a new adventure for us.
80 years of family tradition and famous at the Great State Fair of Texas, the fried treats are between just $6 and $9 depending on what you get.
We also have brought our jalapeno and cheese, which is my personal favorite.
And back again this season, Coop Schooner All-American Ale. Oklahoma's Executive Associate Athletic Director of External Engagement says it's all sure to spark a fun environment for the future in the SEC.
We want full bellies and fun times. Each game, each season, we're going to take something and have a new spin on it.
Austin Brissett. Oklahoma's News 4.
Levy restaurants are the main concessionaire at OU, and their menu and new items can be found when it gets released later this month. Brian, back to you.
OU fans will be looking forward to a new conference this year, but some familiar rivalries have been restored, and in one case, it remains. OU Texas isn't changing, and this year marks the 40th anniversary of a classic matchup between the teams. When we get back, we'll flash back to the controversial tie in the rain in 1984. It's next. Welcome back to the KFOR College Football Kickoff. OU and Texas have played some classics through the years, but none was quite like the one played 40 years ago. The Sooners and Longhorns met in a top 3 matchup in a downpour in Dallas. Thanks to some poor officiating, it ended in controversy and a 15-15 tie. This was Robert Allen's report for us back in 1984.
Usually the Cotton Bowl is a sea of red and orange for the OU-Texas game, but today it was a sea of water. Rain came down throughout the game and played havoc with both teams. It struck the Sooners first when Mike Winchester couldn't handle the snap from center. He ended up taking a dive with the football at the OU 26. That set up the Longhorns' first score that came just moments later on a 25-yard strike from Todd Dodge to a wide-open Bill Boy Bryant. And Texas had a lead they would keep the entire first half. The rainy, wet field hurt the Sooners again in the second quarter. This time Oklahoma coughed the ball up, or maybe we should say splashed the ball up on an option play. Texas safety Jerry Gray recovered at the Sooner 26-yard line. Jeff Ward came in 3 plays later on 4th down. He hit a 40-yard field goal to make it Texas 10, Oklahoma nothing at the half. Finally, in the third quarter, the Sooners got a break when the Horns' Terry Orr fumbled at his own 5-yard line. Keith Stanberry dove in the pile and recovered it for the Sooners. That led to a 5-yard touchdown run by Steve Sewell. Sewell would wind up being the big offensive hero for the Sooners on the day. Later in the third period, with Oklahoma trailing 10-9, the Sooners were on the move, and Sewell makes the big play, snaring a Danny Bradley pass for a 25-yard gain down to the Texas 11. Then on the very next snap, Sewell finished the job with an 11-yard touchdown run. Oklahoma went for 2 on the conversion and missed, but they had their first lead of the afternoon, 15-10. Texas then inserted their secret weapon, tailback Kevin Nelson. Nelson made a big play in the fourth quarter, going 59 yards around the left side, all the way to the Sooner 3-yard line. However, the Oklahoma defense stood firm from there, holding Texas out on 4 straight plays to retain the lead. On their next possession, Oklahoma would take an intentional safety. The final drive by the Longhorns will be a sore spot, with Sooner players, coaches, and fans for a long time to come. Twice it appeared the officials stole victory from OU. First on an apparent fumble that was ruled a dead ball, then on a more controversial play just before the tying field goal, they signaled that Keith Stanberry was out of bounds while making this interception. Texas went on to boot the field goal to make the final a 15-15 draw. As you might expect, the Sooner locker room was not a happy place.
I have a lot of respect for Texas, but I got some hard feelings about the game. I knew we was the winners, and we come out short, and we tied the ball game. And the way when they got the field goal, it seemed like they won the game. So that's not the way I feel right now.
You feel like that you play winning performance. You've played well enough to win the football game. It's evident by the play of your players. Then you have a couple of people make calls that affect the outcome of a game and can mean the national championship. That's where you should have instant replay. Why be any doubt? Why be any doubt?
Robert Allen, News 4 Sports.
That was the first of 5 straight seasons Texas could not beat OU. The Sooners went on to win the Big 8 title and play in the Orange Bowl that year. The Longhorns lost 4 of their last 5 games to finish 7-4-1 and tie for 3rd in the Southwest Conference. When we get back, we'll talk with a player who was an OU freshman for that game. I talk one-on-one with Troy Aikman. Stay with us. It's next. Welcome back to KFOR's College Football Kickoff. Recently, Troy Aikman was in town to promote the distribution of his Beer 8. I got the chance to sit down with the former Henrietta High School star, Dallas Cowboy, and Pro Football Hall of Famer for a one-on-one interview. We discussed his opinion about the state of college sports and the 2 coaches from our state who he worked with on the way to Super Bowl glory.
My life, in a weird way, has been kind of like Groundhog's Day. Jimmy recruited me at Oklahoma State. Next thing I know, I'm playing for him in Dallas, and then of course, played for Barry at OU, and then I'm playing for him in Dallas.
Troy Aikman's relationship with 2 well-known coaches in our state has come full circle. He almost signed with Oklahoma State and Jimmy Johnson out of high school in Henrietta. Johnson eventually coached him to 2 Super Bowl titles with the Dallas Cowboys, and last year, Jimmy joined Troy in the Cowboys' Ring of Honor.
And I thought, okay, well, now he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and maybe now the Ring of Honor won't be quite as big a deal to him, but it was. Quite honestly, I was surprised at how important the Ring of Honor still was. And I think I know why, but to get to be there that night and see him go into the Ring of Honor and be honored for what he had accomplished as our head coach. Long overdue, well-deserved, and thrilled that it happened.
Aikman's first college coach was Barry Switzer, who eventually helped Troy to a 3rd Super Bowl ring with the Cowboys. The 2 have had their issues in the past, but Aikman says it's all good now between him and Switzer.
We had ups and downs, just like Jimmy and I had, and just like I've probably had with every coach that I've played for. I loved my time with Barry at Oklahoma. He was very helpful when I decided to transfer, and made phone calls and talked with Terry Donahue, and then of course came to Dallas. I've gotten a chance to spend a little more time around him since we both got out of football, and he's an icon, and thrilled to have had the relationship that I've had with him, and big fan.
In 2021, Aikman was even shooting the breeze with Switzer and Brian Bosworth at the OU-Nebraska game in Norman. It was 36 years since the last time he'd been to a game at Owen Field.
That was the first time since I had left. My sister graduated from Oklahoma, and then she got her master's at OU. So I went back, and it was at Owen Field for her graduation ceremony, but I had never been back for a football game. It was an awesome experience. I mean, as much as I love UCLA, the Rose Bowl, it's just not quite the same as going to an OU game and seeing the pageantry and what big-time college football is.
Aikman is an old-school guy who's fond of the traditions in college sports, and he's not crazy about the massive changes going on.
I'm not a fan of of what I've witnessed. I don't like all of the realignments, and I don't. You know, I think here in Oklahoma you can relate to it because the fact that Oklahoma and Oklahoma State won't be playing against each other, it just doesn't seem right. There's a lot of those rivalries that have been lost with the realignments of these conferences, and I have a hard time believing it's in the best interest of the game. I'm not even sure it's in the best interest of the athletes. I don't fault anyone for taking advantage of their opportunities. But it just seems like a lot of people were asleep at the wheel, and maybe this could have been diverted if people in control could have gotten out ahead of it a little bit and kept it from getting to where it is now.
Well, this is an amazing weekend. That goes without saying.
Aikman thinks the NFL, on the other hand, is in great shape, and he's about to start his 24th season in the broadcast booth.
You know, I was the last person that ever thought I would go into broadcasting. It was just really by happenstance that it occurred. But, you know, it turned into a really good job. I wound up going through a divorce. I raised my girls. Being a single dad, I was home to get them to all their events and not miss anything, and then just gone on the weekend for half the year. And so it really has been a great job, and I really enjoy it.
And does a good job at it. Aikman and his partner Joe Buck are in their 23rd season together, the longest broadcasting duo in NFL history. That wraps it up for a college football kickoff preview. You guys ready for some football?
Just a little bit. I think we're all pretty excited about it. I'm looking forward to what a new Big 12 looks like and how OSU handles the four corner schools, and with OU, if they can stay healthy with the grind of the SEC. If they can, it's hard to see them finishing 8th.
Yeah, I mean, like you just said, Dylan, I can't wait to see how OU performs this fall in an even deeper SEC. And if OSU can take control of this new look Big 12 conference, they've arguably been the most successful program of all those teams this century.
We've got a lot of football for you here on News 4 this year. We've got Big Ten and Notre Dame football, Friday night Heroes high school football, of course, Sunday night football on NBC, and Dallas Cowboys preseason football is coming up next. Thanks for watching our college football kickoff preview. Enjoy the season.